And that's something where that would be an opportunity. We're not getting, in all honesty, a great deal of interest back. So if we don't get that interest back, then there also is an opportunity to hire a GIS tech for the summertime, or a student to do that, and that would seriously help with the mapping end of it.
Yeah.
So
And
we
then
had
they can also do a database as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would do. That's great. Is that in there?
Yeah, I have just a question with regards to your proposed training, which I think is an excellent idea. And that, obviously, they're thinking about the municipal and county employees, but I'm also wondering if you're targeting people in the community that want to get the training at the same time, because there is a lot of interest in the community, and whether whoever would teach it has any ability to give certification to people so that they can actually use Roundup and actually do the procedures. So are we just doing a very fundamental level, or are we taking it to an advanced level so that we can do more than just very, very basic follow-up? So
yeah, that's a complicated question because of the overarching pesticide act that is in play in the province. So it definitely governs who can spray where. When you're talking about private property, that person does still need a pesticide license and does still have to go through all that training. But they can then go ahead and spray on their own private property. But when you're talking about municipal property, you would need to have a staff member with a license. So it comes down to the licensing. You need to have that training to be legal and applying this pesticide.
So the certificate,
So
this training,
the training, yeah, we can go forward with training. There's just a few, like, you gotta tread lightly on who you're training and what they're, and who's gonna be accountable for where they're spraying. That's you wanna make sure you're being careful on who's, you're giving a pesticide gun to.
Could I just quick follow-up, sorry. Is it potentially open to anybody in the county? Could we target that, because if we are asking for monies in some level from the county or support here, that we could offer them and say that this type of training will be available to all of you, and so therefore we might secure support from the other county councils?
It's a tough one. I think to be accountable, you'd want to focus on your staff and get your, make sure that it's very controlled and tight-knit and you have a good model, I guess. I'd be weary to open it up to just any volunteer at this point.
I'm actually thinking about the county staff, like members, staff from other municipalities, like if Clinton, Wyoming wants to send a staff member and
Sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Yeah, obviously you have to be very selective, and I
The
understand
more
that.
people we can get in on the initial training, I think the better it'll go.
We would send out to the surrounding municipalities, and actually there was talk about, and the county, we were talking about also including people who, contractors who do work for the municipalities. That was another thing that came up. And what our model right now is that it's over 2 days, one in the spring, one in the fall. And we're looking at providing information so that when people leave that first day, they would know that they can get certification through Ridgetown and what certification would be recommended. And then it would be up to them to sign up for that if they wanted it, and then come back in the fall and we would have a practicum where they would go out and they would actually do some work, specifically with Phragmites. That's the model that we've created right now, and we're waiting for feedback. We've sent the draft out to various organizations, so we're waiting to hear back.
And in terms of the certification, that's something we're working on as well. There's a lot, like you have to go through curriculum approvals, and you need approvals from certain people to put like a credit somebody for doing this program.
Councilor Russell.
On the same subject the deputy was talking about, I had a talk with Curtis from Earthly Designs. Is Curtis here?
He's here.
Well, there's the man. But one of the things, I can't see us putting on a thing that's just municipal employees. I think it'd be useless. It's great, but we were reticent at the start of this. I think now we're jumping on board, we're suddenly going to train. We do have private contractors. I'm a little bit reticent about just doing staff. I think we really need to go to the likes of Earthly Designs or whoever in our community who are the people who work for the private sector. And these are the people, and if we do it correctly, as you guys obviously do things very layered and correct, I think then you could have a list, and if on your information, your data. If somebody phones up the municipal office, you say, we have 6 trained contractors in this community working for us, and we would be glad to give you their names, knowing full well that they've got all the approvals. You know, to me, staff-wise, yes, we're going to be municipal land, we're going to have the M&R, we're going to have all the different jurisdictional stuff. But you mentioned right all through your presentation what the biggest problem we have is the number of landowners. And so if we're going to deal with landowners, we better have the vehicle to deal with landowners, because Brent's talking about not being able to do data banks or GISs with staff. We have a hard enough time trimming flowers, and I think what we have to think about is using the private sector accordingly, train them well. If we have a session, we make sure we include the private sector. It's just a given, I think.
Yeah.
Private partnership.
And Life Shore is a unique situation like that. Yeah.
Councilor Scott?
I've been coming to, well, not all of your meetings, but a good number of them. And I'm really grateful that you were able to take all that we talk about and put it into a presentation like that. So I thank you very much, because it was simple, it was easy to follow, and we covered all the points that we talked about. Good job.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up our 10-minute. And it's been a great discussion, a lot of things have been out there, a lot of direction to go. I want to thank you again for the presentation. I don't know whether council has a motion or a direction to go, but we've talked about some different things. Councilor Russell, you have something ready to?
Well, right now, with what Brent answered me, I think I'd really like to have a report back from Brent going toward budget about this report, and Jason, all the layers. I really think we need a report that talks about the layers and how we can coordinate and take the leadership role that they're suggesting. I don't know the answers to that, but obviously Brent's been doing a lot of work with these people.
Just, I don't know whether we're going to have a report for the 17th meeting.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that at
No,
all.
so that's the next one is, the next one's in January.
Thinking in the New Year's.
The next one's in January, and the next county committee meeting's in January. So I think would be wise to have a letter requesting that the county move this direction.
So I can make that part of the resolution if you want, and a letter forwarded to the county outlining our leadership role, and we encourage the county to come up and help us in our leadership role. Something like that.
So that's moved by Councilor Russell, that we ask for a report dealing with the plan, dealing with the ways to move forward, plus a letter of request from the county.
I'll second.
Councilor Bostic.
Just a friendly amendment, if Councilor Russell would consider, I think it's gotta be tougher than that. I think it's gotta be, the language has to be more assertive, and I would say cutting through red tape. Rather than just, let's get reports and let's talk about, these guys have been working hard on
Really hard.
our community's behalf with, probably a lot of headaches involved in this thing. And I think we have to take a more assertive approach on this one and say, let's ask for a report that says, how do we get it done, Brent? How do we cut through the red tape? How do we get rid of the egos? How do we, right? It's gotta be tougher than just, help us with leadership. That's just my opinion. Yeah, steps forward. Let's make it really direct and get a commitment from county that says, we got 2 county councilors here, let's push the envelope.
Do we need to change the motion, or just take that?
Just toughen up the language.
Toughen up. Brent got the message. Okay? Any other questions? All in favor of that? That's carried. Again, thank you.
And I thank you very much for here.
Merry
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion that we put money towards it in the budget.
What's that again?
That's the report.
Okay, you know what Frank said, I can go in the article, just check out the beavers.
The thing is, it's always still 10 degrees up there. I take snow over rain every day.
You have that done by 2014?
Thank you, Nan.
This is the Frank Maggie's.
Yeah.